Hello and welcome to another Fracture Effects quick tip. As you can read in this quick tip, I will cover how you can create a very simple explosion and a very specified explosion or very localized explosion using the volume filter and a couple of modifiers. So let's have a look at the scenario that we will be working with. So let's say that you have this asset, which is the dome asset that we've been using of our Fracture Effects 2-shot. And I just have the asset that we're working with, that we're going to work with. But let's say that you have a marker from an asset department or from a director or a visual effects supervisor or something like that, because that's exactly where they want the explosion or the impact to happen. So let's say you're working on a shot where there are stones or bullets or rockets or something like that impacting this sphere, or sorry, in fact impacting this dome, and they are very specific about where they want this explosion, this impact to happen. So it is not unusual then that you would get these markers, either being it a texture or, like in this case, a mesh or a volume, where they want the explosion to happen. So in Fracture, as with most things in Fracture, it's very easy to set this up with a couple of filters and a couple of modifiers. So what I have here already is I have a very simple basic Fracture setup. I just connected things to the simulator and I have the basic break geo node in there. Obviously, where the magic happens is in the filters and modifiers. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to want to create some fragments out of this asset. So I've broken it already, but I have to set up a filter to actually create the fragments. One thing that I have to mention though is that I have my asset here, my main object, my main destructible is set to passive. I have active ticked off. So let's go back to the event, and the way that I normally do this, and we will create a template down the line in the next build or something like that, but the way that I normally set up an event that doesn't do anything except create fragments is I create a bomb. So I'm going to create a bomb, and basically I'm going to strip it of almost everything. I'm going to delete the object filter, I'm going to delete the trigger filter, and the time filter, and then I'm also going to create delete the push modifier. Now you will see if I play this that this event goes through, because it becomes orange, which is the pass color. So let's call this initial, or fragment creation, like that. Then the next one the next event is I'm going to create a modify unbroken, because what I want to do is I want to modify these fragments. I want to add some modifiers to the fragments that we have just created. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the object filter, because we only have one object. I could choose it here. As you know, the object filter allows you to pick out certain objects that you want to apply the fracturing to, but in this case I'm just going to delete it. Now in this case, this is an important one, the data filter, the fracture count. I'm going to set it to 1, because the fracture count of my object is already 1, because I have fractured it in the previous event. Now I want this explosion to happen at frame 10, and that's it. So you will see, let's play this, you will see that it will become green at frame 10 because the event passes, because the event returns a true for all the filters. So what's the next thing we have to do is we actually have to use this marker in a filter. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a volume filter, and we're going to use this mesh. So let's bring back my polygons. We're going to use this mesh as the volume for this volume filter. I'm going to set this volume filter type to mesh, and I'm going to connect the marker that we have from layout. So you could see that that actually worked, because if I change these widgets here, stuff updates, and you will see it later as well that it works. Now if we play this now, nothing is going to happen, because we actually haven't activated any fragments yet. So the first modifier that we're going to do is we're going to create an assign modifier. We're going to go to dynamics parameters, active. I'm going to set it to 1. So what this means is, if we have an object where the fracture count is 1, and it is later than frame 10, and it is inside this volume, then the fragments will be activated. So if we play this now, and let me just hide these two here. If you play this now, you will see that the fragments are falling. Okay, so that's okay, but that's not actually, that does what we intended it to do to a certain extent, but actually what we want to do now is we want these fragments to blow out. More specifically, we want them to blow out in -x. So what we do is we create another assign modifier. We set it to velocity, and we set the x value to, say, -100. And if we play this now, you will see that the fragments are blowing out. Now it's a bit coarse, it's a bit rough, so let's create some more fragments, show you how interactive and procedural fracture is. So let's rewind this, and you will see now that we have more fragments. Maybe 100 is a little bit much. So let's set it to, just so we can see a little bit better. Set it to 50. And let's play it again. And there we go. If you want to change some more fractures, or some more fragments, or you want to change this to another fracture type or whatever, it's all very easy. You generate it, rewind it. Let's go through it frame by frame so we can see it at the first frame. There we go. There's your setup. Modifiers, very powerful. Allow you to be very specific. They're kind of like per particle attributes or per particle expressions, but then instead of particles, they apply on fragments. So I hope you enjoyed it, and have a good day.